iHeart and on Odyssey. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson.
If you're looking for the latest news, insight into what it means, and the sharpest opinion, there's only one station in Chicago where you can turn, and it's this one. We're AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. This was a fun little piece the other day. It's not particularly insightful, but it does call to mind somebody else that should be in the conversation in terms of predicting where we are today. George Orwell is most often cited because, most people have never read anything other than 1984, so they have no reference for the dystopian. So they don't, so Vonnegut sometimes. Ayn Rand, Atlas Shrugged, Anthem, others, offerings, other novels tell us where we're going if we sort of gave into this, what she would call cultural altruism. That's not a compliment. I know altruism has a positive connotation, and it should to an extent. I'm not a Randian, but not at the expense of attacking the economic and social system that generates the resources by which people can be altruistic. This is the part that the left misses, the disconnect. 5 ways Rand predicted America's political crisis today. And I thought, well, we're talking about Ayn Rand. Well, there's no one better on the topic. Well, maybe there's some people better. I mean, Randian scholars, but I mean, somebody very good on the topic because he wrote a book about it. So he's steeped in Rand as well, and just the larger takeaways, of course. Maybe a few reading recommendations as well. Jonathan Hoenig is the capitalist pig. He's a founding member of the Capitalist Pig Hedge Fund and a Fox News contributor. He's the author of a new textbook of Americanism, The Politics of Ayn Rand. Jonathan, thanks for joining us again. Appreciate it.
Dan and Amy, great to be with you. And yeah, Rand wasn't against altruism in the sense that she wasn't against being nice or even being charitable.
Right.
But for her, Rand was against self-sacrifice, sacrificing yourself, your own values, your own future, your own happiness for the benefit of other people or other entities, whether that's the nation, the environment, the poor, or anything else. So Rand was all about Americanism, pursuing your happiness, your life, liberty, and the rest right here on Earth today, right now.
No, there's no question. I mean, I'm not on board with her atheism, so that's why I'm not a Randian. But there's no question, and what she was brilliant at, perhaps one. I mean, I don't think perhaps one of the most important authors of the 20th century was storyifying these morality tales, if you will. And again, this piece from a columnist over at Fox Digital. She hits at least on the right topic areas, what would happen to education, what would happen to parental rights over their children, what would happen to our very system of free minds and free markets.
Yeah, I mean, Dan and Amy, exactly right. I mean, Rand understood that politics comes last. We get the politicians that we deserve. And today's political cesspool is a result of ideas, the ideas that have been taught in American schools for decades now. And as you said, Dan, whether it's education, whether it's parental rights, whether it's this whole cancel culture, I mean, Rand foresaw exactly the political morass that the country is now facing. And I think that's what I fear, Dan and Amy, is not even short term, but longer term. You don't see any return to exactly those ideals, the American ideals, the capitalist, the individualistic, the notion of self-sufficiency. That's off the radar screen for today's young people. So Rand foresaw it, and Dan, that's exactly what I write about in a new textbook of Americanism.
Your favorite Rand offering? Let me guess.
Oh my God!
I'm gonna guess. No, it's too obvious.
That's such low-hanging fruit.
Virtue of selfishness.
Well, yeah, I mean, Rand did think that selfishness was a virtue, but what is selfishness? It's not pursuing your values to someone's detriment. It's not hurting other people or stealing or ruining other people's lives to pursue your own goals. But it's trading with them. It's benefiting them and benefiting yourself at the same time. But Rand foresaw all of this, Stan and Amy, and it's why her ideas are so needed right now. And even the so-called right, the Republicans now, they don't even espouse free market capitalism. They don't espouse individualism like, Rand certainly did. So, we need a change. We need we need an intellectual change in this country back towards exactly those American ideals: individualism, freedom, free market capitalism. Those are dirty words to today's young people and today's culture, Dan.
Well, let's dig a little deeper. So how did Rand foresee America's tragic failures in education?
Government. Rand understood that government and education need to be completely separated. In today's Department of Education, we think of that as being such an integral part of the American experiment, right? Well, we need a Department of Education. This was only created in 1979 under Carter. So we have this centralized education, and not just in terms of providing it, but funding it as well. Today you have young people graduating with hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt, with educational backgrounds that they'll never use. That's exactly as a result of government involved in education writ large. So, that's just one example, Amy, of how government involvement in the economy and the country, ironically, is ruining exactly the country it's supposed to protect.
All right, I've got a question for you, Mr. Rand scholar.
Get ready.
Why has there only been one good movie made of a Rand novel? You know what I'm talking about. Of course, that'd be The Fountainhead with Gary Cooper and Patricia Neal. All the other movies, especially that series on Atlas Shrugged, terrible. What's up with that?
Yeah, no. Ironically, in my opinion, the best movie of Rand's works was actually made without her permission. The fascist in the 50s and the 40s actually made a video or made a movie of her book We the Living, unauthorized.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, right.
Yeah, but you're right. There hasn't been a good movie until I think there will be one soon, actually. Rand's heir, a gentleman by the name of Leonard Peikoff, Dan, actually has resold the rights to The Daily Caller. So it's very likely in the next couple of years you'll see from Ben Shapiro's out to The Daily Caller.
You mean Daily Wire? Daily Wire.
It's the Daily Wire. Exactly. The Daily Wire, a new version of Atlas Shrugged. And boy, we really could use it. And Dan and Amy, there's a reason that Ayn Rand's books continue to sell now, 40-some years after her death. They still continue to sell thousands of copies year after year after year. They're great books. They're exciting books. They're not, simply tales on politics and ethics. They're exciting, wonderful reads, which is why everyone should pick them up.
All right, so I should see The Fountainhead, that movie, because I'm looking for a movie to download.
You never saw The Fountainhead?
I never saw The Godfather 1 or 2.
Yeah, The Fountainhead,
recently.
Gary Cooper and Patricia Neal. See The Fountainhead. Everyone should see The Fountainhead.
Right,
and you should
at
also read it too.
Yeah, okay. Thank you.
But by the way,
thank you for book and movie shaming.
with all due no problem, my pleasure. So yeah, Ben Shapiro, not a movie maker. I don't have a lot of confidence there, unless he outsources to Andrew Klavan, and Klavan gets some of his Hollywood friends to make it professional. Because that movie thing, I'm just an aside. I'm not encouraged by that. I'm sorry to say. All right, let's talk a little bit about the markets. So Fed's expected rate hike. And the markets are going to continue to go up forever. And if they don't, then we'll spend more money and we'll just repeat what we've been doing for the last 10 years.
Well, Dan, it's almost like I'm living in two different worlds here. You've got Biden and those in Washington crowing about how much better things are. Bidenomics and inflation's coming down. But you've got 76% of Americans saying that inflation has severely impacted their finances. And in fact, 60% say that they think inflation is still going up. And as you said, this is really getting serious. You were paying 3% on a mortgage just a few years ago. Mortgage rates are now above 7%. And probably the best example is something as simple as like a car loan. 5 years ago, the average car loan was about $490 in 2015. It's $750 today for a car loan. That's the monthly payment on a new car loan. So you have a 50% increase in just the monthly payment for a new car loan. So, Dan, Biden is crowing about this economy, Dan and Amy, but the average American isn't.
No recession. No recession.
The wrong way.
Everybody says no recession's happening. He's staved off a recession. He saved us.
Bidenomics.
Yeah. Meanwhile, you've got 1 in 5 Americans saying that they don't think they're ever going to be able to retire, specifically because of today's economy. And again, a majority of them saying that we're on the wrong track. So, it's funny, Dan, they've been saying for years now, there is no recession, the economy is improving, but everyday Americans, despite a nice rally in the stock market, aren't feeling it at all.
All right, Jonathan Hoenig, the Capitalist Pig, founding member of the Capitalist Pig Hedge Fund, Fox News contributor, author of the book, A New Textbook of Americanism, The Politics of Ayn Rand. And again, expand, for those of you who need to, beyond Orwell and Vonnegut and some of these others that told great morality tales, and include Rand if you haven't, and the New Textbook of Americanism that Jonathan Hoenig wrote. Jonathan, thanks as always. Appreciate it.
Couldn't agree more. Thank you both. Have a great weekend.
Thanks, you too. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
The weather's almost as hot as what we're talking about. AM 560, The Answer.
Attention taxpayers, ready for some bad news? With $80 billion in new funding from Congress, the IRS has launched their most aggressive hiring campaign ever to ramp up enforcement. If you're ignoring your taxes, don't delay another minute, because your paycheck, your bank account, even your home or business could already be at risk. Now, here's the good news. Optima Tax Relief, America's #1 tax relief firm, can get to work immediately, helping to protect you from the IRS. A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau, their tax attorneys and licensed professionals are experts at resolving tax problems. Let them help determine if you qualify for the Fresh Start Initiative or other power